everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia, and today I wanted to do something that I've seen a few people do in the book space and talk about my bookish pet peeves. Now, obviously, a disclaimer that these are my opinions, so you might have different opinions. The things that bother me might not necessarily bother you. That's just the way the world works. We're different people. But with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I feel like the concept is pretty self-explanatory, so I won't waste your time babbling on. Let's go ahead and get started with the first pet peeve that I have, and that is people mistreating library books. Libraries are such an amazing public resource, but they're often very underfunded or underappreciated by the governing agencies. So when people damage the library books, it becomes difficult for libraries to be able to purchase new books because they've got to replace old ones, or they have to decide between replacing an old book and purchasing a new one. So if you are taking books up from the library, don't treat them like your own books if you mistreat your books. Treat them like you borrowed them from a friend. Don't dog-ear the pages, try not to spill anything on them, don't leave them outside overnight to get rained on. They're not your personal property, they belong to the community, and it makes it harder for the rest of the community to appreciate and enjoy literature if you are wasting the library's money on replacing books because you are damaging library books. So just do us all a favor and treat them well, please. The next one is a little controversial because obviously if it's your own book, you can do whatever you want to it. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. But personally, I don't like dog-eared pages. I just feel like it looks bad. When you close the book and you look at the text block, you can see, even if the page has been straightened out after, that it's been bent. And then if it's a paperback and you bend enough of them, then it doesn't always shut all the way. It just kind of is fluffed open more because of the dog ears. And this does happen just from reading the book, but it takes more time and it's definitely a lot more pronounced when you have pages propping up the other pages. And personally, for me, that just bothers me. I like my books to be in as nice of condition as possible just because I like the way they look that way, and I find that it improves my reading experience when a book is in a good condition. My third pet peeve is when there's previews for other books in the back of my books. So one series that I have that does this is The Witcher, and it's not too bad because the previews are actually for, this is for the next book in this series, so that at least makes some sense. But then there is also a preview for a different book by this author back here, and my problem with this is just it's such a waste of paper. I never read the previews that are in the back of books because if I'm reading this series, for example, I'm not gonna read the preview to the next book. I'm just gonna read the next book. And when it's for a different book, I also don't read it. I just get to the end of the book and I'm like, oh, this is a waste of pages, and I don't read it. So first of all, it's not very good marketing, at least on me personally, because I never read them. And then also I just it annoys me that if I've paid for a book and all of this is previews for other books, what a waste of my money. Can't you just charge me a little bit less and take out? There's 50 pages here of stuff that I'm never gonna read. So it's such a waste of paper and ink and honestly space in the bookshelf. It makes all my books a little bit thicker. I mean, that's the least of the problems, but I just find it annoying having to pay for this. I don't know how much it actually adds to the price of the book, but I'm sure it's enough. That's a lot of pages, a lot of printing. I don't know. That's just something that bothers me. And while I have this book in my hand, it also represents another of my pet peeves, and that is these stupid fake stickers. I hate them so much. Can't take it off. It's so annoying to me when there's ads on things that I have paid for. So book covers, for example, but also Prime TV. Sometimes you click on something to watch it and you get an ad. It's am I not paying for this service? I thought these things were supposed to be ad-free, but this especially annoys me because it's a physical thing that I bought and you've stuck an ad to it that I can't remove. I've heard that some people put stickers over them, and that's a good idea, but if they had just made these stickers in the first place, I wouldn't have to deal with covering them up. It just pisses me off, okay? I feel like most people feel the same way about the stupid fake stickers. Okay, next up on my list of pet peeves is the strong female character. You know what I mean? I don't have actually a thing against female characters who are strong, but it's the female characters that are often written by men who they say are strong female characters, but really all they mean is the character likes to beat people up or is a physically strong warrior who doesn't give a shit about anything and is not in touch with their feminine side usually. It's just like, women can be strong and brave and also feminine, like, but a lot of authors can't seem to like put these things together, and a lot of the times when you come across someone who's supposed to be a strong female character, they're actually just like a brain dead warrior who doesn't have any emotions because they're so tough. And I don't know, that just pisses me off. Like, can we not just let women be multifaceted in stories just the way they are in real life? Is that too much to ask for? Apparently sometimes. Another thing that bothers me in terms of characters is the like personality-less main character, and this is mostly like a YA thing, or at least in earlier YA, where like the main character would be pretty like bland and have like almost no personality, because the whole idea was like the teenagers who are reading the books can self-insert. And I feel like maybe that has a place in like some younger like YA books, but in terms of like things that I want to read now, I don't like that. I want the main character to have a fun personality, something interesting going on, you know? I don't want to have to do the heavy lifting of imagining what the main character would be like and trying to like make myself the main character, because then inevitably the main character is going to make decisions that I wouldn't make, and then it's just like, why did we even bother? Like, just give me an actual character, not a shell. All right, next up, I hate it when bookstores only have like the second book in the series or like the most recent books in a series and not the first one. And like, I do understand why they do this. Like, they want to sell the most recent books, so they might not want to waste the shelf space on having a whole series in stock, especially if the first book came out a long time ago. But it's annoying when you like, you go to a bookstore, you see some books, they look cool, you read like the back and you're like, oh, this is interesting, but they don't have the first book in the series. So now I'm just not going to buy any of the books in this series, because it's like, well, if I can't buy the first one, I'm not going to buy the second one and then come back later and hope you have the first one, you know? So I just wish they would sell, like at least sell, like if it's a really long series, like you could at least sell like the first one and then like the most recent ones, so I can at least start the series. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. The next thing that kind of bothers me is when they make a bazillion versions of covers for really popular books, but then they leave other books that are even still like popular but just aren't like the top 3 to have no other editions. So you have no choice, you get one choice. As much as I love My Baby Lord of the Rings, there are too many editions. There are so many editions of Lord of the Rings. There's got to be hundreds. But then we have like Robin Hobb, and this is like the only special edition, even though her books are so good, and they're even like, they're pretty popular. Like most people in like the booktube fantasy community know who Robin Hobb is, but there's only like the US editions and then the UK editions, and I don't even think the like regular hardbacks are ever like printed anymore. Like I just never see them unless I'm looking at like a used bookstore, and then this is the only special edition that I know of. So like I only have the mass market paperbacks for the rest of them, even though I would love to have nice editions of all of them, but I can't because they don't make them. And I feel like they're missing out, because a lot of these series that are like smaller still have like huge audiences who would love to have special editions. Whereas like by publishing another edition of Lord of the Rings, like there are so many out there that I feel like people are less likely to buy your new special edition because they already own one, or they found one that's different that they like better. There's so many series that I don't have like special or new editions, and I feel like there's definitely a market for that. I wish publishers would just make some more editions of books that aren't just like the first most popular or second most popular book. Alright, the final thing that I want to complain about in this video is bad covers. And these are the books that inspired me to include this point, because they're just objectively bad. For most covers, it's hard to say like, oh yes, this is definitively a bad cover, because somebody else may like that thing, and maybe somebody does like this. But covers like this are just so clearly low effort. Like, this looks like some first draft that I would have made in Photoshop in like first year of design school. And not only that, but this cover kind of gives away a plot point, which I feel like is generally not the idea of covers when it's kind of like, it's not like specifically super secret at this plot point, but it's like, it's kind of a little bit of a twist. So to have that revealed on the cover, I feel like it's a huge oversight on the part of the publisher to let that be published when it's like giving away part of the story. There are so many digital artists out there and so many great designers that I really just feel like it's so lazy for publishers to put out shitty covers and then still ask people to pay 27 Canadian dollars for this. I just wish that publishers would take the time to put out covers that are at least high effort, even if there's no way for every single person to like every single cover. At least we can all agree on if a cover looks like somebody who actually cared about it, worked on it. This does not. This looks like somebody did it in 10 minutes, and it's a disgrace. But yeah, that just about sums up, I think, most of my bookish pet peeves. I'm sure there are some other ones that I've neglected to mention here, but I can only complain for so long. So let me know in the comments what your bookish pet peeves are, or if there are some of mine that don't bother you at all. But that is all I have for you today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.